Almighty God, whom endowed wisdom and goodness has appointed the offices of rulers and parliaments for the welfare of society and just government of men, be thou to behold with thou abundant favor as thou servant, whom thou hast pleased to call to the performances of important trust in this land. Let thou blessing descend upon us here in this House Assembly. Grant us that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner, to promote thou honor, glory, to advance peace, prosperity, and welfare of this country, and of those whose interest thou hast committed to our charge. Amen. Good morning. Thank you. Be seated.
Records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Tuesday, 30th July 2019.
Honorable members, the records of the votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Tuesday, 30th July 2019 is before us for consideration and adoption. Can any honorable member please move that the said records of votes and procedures be considered and adopted? Honorable member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and good morning. I rise to move a motion for the records of votes and proceeding of the National Assembly sittings of Thursday, 30th July 2019 to be considered and adopted. Thank you.
Any seconder? Sami?
Thank you. I rise to second the motion.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded for the said records of votes and proceedings to be adopted. Any issue, observation from any honorable member? Yeah. The record is before us. Could we start with page 1? Any issue, observation by any honorable member? Yes, honorable member for Jara East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Page 1, bullet point number 3. Bullet point 3, where you have 84 should be 84. EIGHTY. Yes, bullet number 3. The spelling.
Yes.
84 should be 84. EIGHTY.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes, Opasalu.
Thank you. Can we also make the change wherever it appears, the same thing appears on other pages, wherever it appears, to change it before we come back, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other observation? Then we move to page 2. Page 2. Page 2, no observation. Could we go to page 3?
Page 3.
Jimara.
Thank you. I think Honorable Fode Drame was with us yesterday, but he is marked absent. Fode Drame. Honorable for the drama, yes. No, he was here. Halifa. You see?
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah. Nyani.
Yes?
Yes.
Nyani?
Yes, my name. Number 37. H is omitted.
Number?
37, Alaji. Alhaji.
Alaji, SB Silla.
Yes, it should be Alhaji, ALH.
Okay. Any more? Then could we move to page 4? Page 4. If none, could we go to page 5? Then we go to page 6. If none on page 5, page 6. Yes. Honorable Member for Basse.
Thank you, Honorable. The fourth paragraph, in addition, the Honorable Member for Banjul North moved a motion to refer the Consolidated Financial Agreement and A&D. And my second observation, there was a motion seconded, and I think there was also counter motion. And I think the counter motion was moved by the member for Busumbala. But it's not captured, I don't know.
Yeah, Honorable Member for Basse, thank you for calling the attention. I was reliably informed that the motion raised by Honorable Member for Banjul, not, and it was put into vote. As a result, there is no need of capturing it in our records of votes and proceedings. But if you still want to be captured, well, we could. The table office will capture it. It will be captured. Yeah. Yes. Then you go to page 7, or page 6 rather, page 6. Yes, Honorable Member for Woodley East.
Yes, if you go to ensuing debate, continued, immediately before the ensuing debate, the sentence there, the motion was lost, and the Assembly accordingly proceeded on the debate to consider the motions. So I'm not sure whether it's the motions, I think it's motion. Because we put it together as one motion. Yeah.
There were several motions. They were just consolidated, but they are all individual motions. Just consolidated, but there are 4 motions.
Yes.
It's correct.
Yeah. Honorable Member, I understand it's correct. There were 4 motions put together. So consolidated motion. Okay. Okay, it will be captured. Page 7. If none, we go to page 8. At the end. Then it has been moved. Yeah. Thank you, honorable members. Honorable member for Woodley East, page 8.
Page 8, yes. When you go to question put and agreed to, the second paragraph. The second paragraph, first line.
Yes.
Consolidated financing agreements, loans, and the memorandum of understandings. I think we should remove the S. It's one memorandum of understanding.
Memorandum of understanding.
Yes, finance. You have financing agreement, loans, and the memorandum of understanding.
Yes, agreements.
Memorandum of understanding 2.
There were 2 as well.
Page 8. Look at it properly.
Are you satisfied? I
The
didn't hear
S.
you.
We just remove the S.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, honorable members. It has been moved and seconded that the records of votes and proceedings of the National Assembly sitting of Tuesday, 30th July 2019 be adopted with or without amendments, or with some amendments. With amendments. Yeah. Those in favor, please say there, aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Clerk.
Motion. Be it resolved that this August Assembly do consider and approve the motion for the establishment of the Conference of Chairpersons and Bureau of Committees by the Honorable Member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Clerk. I will now invite the Honorable Member for Janjambure, Honorable Momodu SCC, to table the motion. Honorable, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to move the motion. I rise to move this, that this August Assembly do consider and approve the establishment of the Conference of Chairpersons and Bureaus of Committees as standing forum in the Assembly. Honorable Speaker, it is a parliamentary standard and best practices that such a forum is established to enhance interaction and discussions among all chairpersons, vice chairpersons, rapporteurs of committees, and the management. Honorable Chairperson and members of the Bureau would recall that the conference was convened twice since 2018. During the last meeting, it was resolved that a motion be tabled before this August Assembly to approve for formal institutionalize the forum. Honorable Speaker, this motion is in accordance with Section 109(1)(e) of the 1997 Constitution, which specifically provides for the National Assembly to create such other standing or other committees as considered necessary for the exercise of its functions. We have all witnessed in the past where committee sittings clash with honorable members, where committee members find it difficult to choose which committee to attend. This makes members to shift between committees during the sittings. This, we all know, affect the effectiveness and the efficiency of the members in terms of delivery. Pertinently, the proposed conference shall ensure proper coordination, direction, and review of strategies for the effective and efficient functioning of the committees of the National Assembly. It is therefore imperative that this August Assembly, for the reasons highlighted above, do consider and approve the setting up of this relevant forum within our parliamentary system. Honorable Speaker, the mandate of the Conference of Chairpersons and Bureau of Committees shall, among others, be to ensure collective and effective planning, coordination and review of committee operations. 2, identify strengths and weaknesses of committee systems and management. 3, to increase effectiveness and efficiency among the committees and their operations. 4, rationalize and harmonize committee work plans. 5, ensure direct interaction and discussions between the leadership of committees and the National Assembly service management. Membership to the conference. The membership of the conference shall consist of the following: 1, chairpersons; 2, vice chairpersons; 3, rapporteurs of committees; 4, National Assembly senior management. There shall be a chairperson of the conference who shall be the speaker, and a vice chairperson who shall be elected from among the members. Powers. The conference shall have all the powers as are vested on the Committee of the National Assembly under the Constitution and the standing orders of the National Assembly. Meeting of the conference. The conference shall meet quarterly, provided that the Assembly is not in plenary session. Notwithstanding, an emergency meeting of the conference may be convened by the chairperson or upon request by not less than 6 members. Honorable Speaker, in view of the few justifications highlighted herein above, and in accordance with Section 109, 1E of the 1997 Constitution, I would kindly urge honorable members to consider and approve this motion for the setting up of the Conference of Chairpersons and Bureaus of Committee. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Any seconder? Honorable Member for Busumbala.
Thank you very much. I rise to second the motion, and in that vein, I want to use the opportunity to say a few words concerning about this creation of Bureau of Committees. Honorable Speaker, there can never be any effective institutions when there are no proper medium of communication and interaction among members. Obviously, it has been cried here yesterday. I could remember, say things must change. You know, the assembly must be a different assembly. I think a step has been shown that the National Assembly of the Gambia is going to be a different National Assembly because a forum is being created where all stakeholders in the assembly will sit periodically to discuss about issues of the National Assembly. So for that being the case, to me, this thing is long overdue. It should have been since at the beginning of our time when we came. We should have this opportunity for chairpersons, vice chairpersons, and rapporteurs of committees to sit tete-a-tete with the authorities of the assembly to discuss issues that are affecting them. If I could remember, 2 of meetings of these committees, we meet officially 2 times since we came, but from all those meetings, it is very fruitful and very interactive, where we discuss things that are affecting our process in the assembly open-heartedly, and we all accept, and then we try to formulate our policies towards that. Honorable Speaker, there have been cry of the independency and autonomy of this National Assembly. Ever since we said some of our jobs our activities have been hindered because the National Assembly doesn't have the autonomy that they wanted to do. But let me tell you this autonomy cannot be discussed, cannot be handled by one person. It is the responsibility of every member, but every member should also have a delegate that should sit in this committee and discuss issues that are pertaining, that are hindering to the activities of this National Assembly. And again, when you talk about committees, I believe committees are the engine of the process of National Assembly. Because we go to the communities, we go to the country, we go to the grassroots and discuss issues and bring them to the Assembly. So I believe if periodically the committees can meet, and then chairpersons go to this bureau, discuss, then that can decide and direct us which motion are we going to bring. So the only area I wanted to talk more, and I want the Assembly to consider, yes, meetings of the conference. I really appreciate. Says the conference shall meet quarterly. This quarterly in Gambian system, when you say quarterly, when does it start? That's the problem. Does it start from here? Are we going to starting from today? Then we count quarterly. But I want to suggest, if it could be possible, after every session, National Assembly session, we meet 4 times, I believe, in a year. After every session, there are issues being discussed. Since at the beginning of the session, towards the end, there are issues being discussed that are of national interest. I want to suggest that after every session, the committee sits. The clerk will come with the table of the table office, tell us these are the issues being discussed. Then issues that needs, for continuous scrutiny of every committee, we assign committees that this is what has been discussed in the plenary. So, for example, let's say, an issue of education has been discussed. So, for that one, or let's say, for example, yesterday we have ratified a loan here. It has to go to the project committee. After the meeting, after the session, the committee can sit down. Unanimously, we task the bureau of the committee on monitoring to start the scrutiny of what we ratified yesterday. So if that is done, then we also assign them before next session, they have to report. So in that process, we will be able to assign respective committees and chairpersons to do their work and then feed the assembly. Then we can have, to formulate what sort of motions are we going to lay for the next session. So that's my area. I wanted to suggest if a time can be set after every session, the committee or bureau of committees sit and discuss issues that has been discussed in the plenary, then committees could be assigned to work on that. So on that note, Madam Speaker, I give my support, and I also want my colleagues to give our support for us to approve this committee to be in existence, because it is a committee which is going to create a platform where we are going to discuss issues pertaining to the process of the National Assembly. On that note, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Busumbala. I now put the question. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the motion to establish the Conference of Chairpersons and Bureau of Committee. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by raising his constituency tag. Woodley? Okay. Floor, you're taking the other ones. Honorable member for Woodley West, floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think this is a welcome initiative. Some may see it as duplication, but it is not a duplication. The National Assembly has to decide on the creation of committees. And then the Committee on Standing Orders deals with it, because this has to be, you are giving us a new job. That means we have to add this to the standing orders. Mr. Honorable Speaker, I have just one problem. When you say conference, that is not speaking the language of the Constitution. The Constitution is talking about committees. Committee. We should call it Committee of Chairpersons and Bureaus and not Conference of Chairpersons and Bureaus, because that doesn't. You cited the Constitution yourself and you are talking about committee and not conference. So nomenclature is my problem. So it should be called Committee of Chairpersons and Bureaus and not Conference of Chairpersons and Bureaus. That is what I want to indicate. There is nothing to say about this, because otherwise it would be a repetition. We've talked about committees, their importance, so necessary to go over that again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woodley West. I think the table office will take note of your concern. May I now call on Honorable Member for Basse.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I want to really thank the mover of the motion, as well all chairpersons of all committees of the National Assembly for coming with such an initiative. Management is very important in an institution. Organization is important also in an institution. I think the first problem that I had has been addressed by the member for Woodley West, and the confusion goes to a level that I cannot make a differentiation between conference and forum. Because in the third paragraph, if you read the sentence, especially the last sentence, during the last meeting, it was resolved that a motion be tabled before this August Assembly for approval to formally institutionalize the forum. And initially, you're talking about Conference of Chairpersons and the Bureau of Committees. But I think the correction on conference can also solve the problem on forum, if at all you are speaking the same language, or if the context differ, you can help us to understand if there's any difference between forum and conference in this context. On a speaker, I want to call the attention of the mover of the motion. It might be we are not using the same version, but the version of the Constitution that I am using, Section 109, folder 1, letter is letter D. That is providing what you have got, the version that I have. But if you have in a similar version which indicate us to E, I respect it. But if told is not the same, we can see together in the version that I have, with your permission, Honorable Speaker, is on the Standing Committee on Defense and Security and such other standing or other committees as it renders necessary for the exercise of its function. Is if I say the version that I have is D, not E. So then I'm having maybe the oldest version, which I'm sorry for that. I don't have E.
Sorry, section 109.1.
Section 109.1.
Hello, Honorable.
Can he draw attention to section 109.1?
Section 109.
1E.
1E. E.
Section 109,
the version
1E.
that I have, there's no E.
There's no?
Can I read all the letters for you, Honorable Speaker? Section 109.1, the National Assembly shall appoint A, a public appointment standing committee, B, a finance and a public accounts standing committee, C, a standing committee of privileges, D, a standing committee on defense. On defense and security, and such other standing or other committees as it considers necessary for the exercise of its function. That's what I have. That's what I'm reading also. I stand to be corrected. But I said earlier, I say we are...
Please allow him to go, allow him to end his contribution.
Correction that the official copy of the constitution we have all members have, that is circular to members. There is E. Let him correct that because this is the official copy. Section 10912.
Honorable member, the official copy of the current constitution, section 109E. E is clearly stated here. I don't know whether your version, it doesn't reflect there, but it reflects here. E, yes. You can.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker, for that update. And I think I will update myself according to the last version. Honourable Speaker, in addition, I want to take members to page, the second page, where the mandates of the committee. The mandate is being defined. All the mandates here are relevant, but what I want to add, if possible, that's to review all committees' reports. You could recall, normally, if a bill is laid in Parliament, we normally refer the bill to the relevant committee. And if that committee sacrifices their energy and that time to examine the bill and bring the report in Parliament, we take the bill as it was at its original format. And in essence, what the Constitution is saying and what the standing order is saying, if the bill is referred, so it's the report of the bill that needs to be laid again. If you have any discussion, it's going to be done on the report. But unfortunately, we normally put the report aside and we go back to the bill as there was even no need to refer it to a committee. So as a result, hence this committee now is going to be the committee of all chairpersons under the Bureau of Committees. I see it necessary. If any committee engage on anything, the report should be laid before this committee for their final revision. From there, it could come to the floor of the House to be laid in plenary. That's the responsibility that I want to add to your mandate. Honourable Speaker, in conclusion, I want to know the limitations of this committee and the relationship between this committee and the authority of Parliament, if there's any boundary. And finally, Honourable Speaker, I want to, if you say chairpersons of committees, I want to, if possible, we have parliamentary networks, we have parliamentary friendship groups, and they are also having chairpersons. if we can open it a little bit so that the chairperson of those parliamentary networks or those parliamentary friendship groups will be also part of membership of the committee. These are my submission, Honourable Speaker. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Basse. Honourable Member for Upper Salu.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. And thank you very much, the Honourable for Janjambure, for bringing such a motion. It is really a standard practice to have such committees in parliaments. And I can confirm at the level of the African Parliament, of which I'm a member, we have such a committee. Now, essentially, the importance of the committees basically cannot be overemphasized, because during the last quarter of every year, as a member of the Bureau, normally I go earlier than my colleagues, and I also stay behind when they come back to Gambia here. And the reasons that happen is we have a session called planning session. And this planning session actually allows us to go through what actually transpired during the course of the year. And for the issues that are encountered, we find a solution so that it won't repeat itself the following year. Now, part of the work we do at the level of the planning also is to prepare a schedule for the incoming year. Because again, you can bear me witness that oftentimes you are informed of a workshop, sometimes 24 hours before, sometimes 48 hours before, and that really makes it really very difficult for most of us to attend. And some of these workshops are really very crucial. So if we have a really effective planning tool at the level of the Bureau, I think it can actually help a lot in terms of planning our activities during the course of the year or during the course of the session, for that matter. And I think this is really very, very important. Honourable Speaker, I think it's also equally important to also mention that part of the planning session we have at the level of the PAP is also to look at the budget for the Parliament at the time before we bring it to plenary. Now, it gives us the opportunity to really present to the Bureau the activities that we intend to undertake in the following year for each of the committees, so that they can harmonize together, and then the costing done to help the clerk to come up with a comprehensive, or the Bureau, the authority to come up with a comprehensive budget for the incoming year. Now, without proper planning from the committees, it's going to be really very difficult to budget for them, because you won't really know what the activities they want to, they intend to pursue in the incoming year. So I think it's really very essential that we have such a committee, but we must ensure the committee actually is effective. Because when it's effective, I think it can help a lot in terms of our planning, in terms of the budgeting, and in terms of also some of the activities we want to encounter during the course of the year for us to ensure that there's maximum participation. Because if you give me 24 hours notice or 48 hours notice that I should attend a workshop, sometimes I may have already been engaged. Again, we are all parliamentarians. We are engaged in other things, not even in the parliament, we are engaged in other private things outside this parliament. So to plan ahead, that would also help us a lot in that. Now, the only area I wanted the honourable member for Janjambure, here on page 2 is saying membership to the conference. I think the name, I would suggest the name to be membership to the Bureau of Conference, to the Bureau of the Committees. The membership, the name itself, yeah. So because again, we are interchanging the conference, forum with the Bureau. I think that's something we really need to take for the sake of consistency. Thank you, and I stand to fully support the creation of such a committee in the National Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Upper Salu. May I now call on Honourable Member for Brikama North.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think we don't have much to say, only to look at the nomenclature as in the title of the committee suggested by Honorable Member for Woolly West, and I also pick from that of the Honorable Member for Upper Salem, Conference of Chairpersons and Bureau of Committees. That's the title, and the Honorable Member for Woolly West suggested we delete the conference and limit ourselves to Committee of Chairpersons and Bureaus. Honorable Member for Upper Saloon, the Committee of Bureaus. As it stands, these are the three proposals as far as the title of the whatever it could be, the conference is concerned. Well, in trying to look at the membership, we have the chairpersons, vice chairpersons, rapporteurs of committees, and National Assembly senior management. If we are talking of if it's committee of chairpersons and bureaus, you look at the membership, where do you fit the National Assembly senior management? Is that referring to the Bureau of the National Assembly? At this juncture, I would like to know what is the composition of the Bureau of the National Assembly. And if that is only limited to what we call the authorities, or if it goes beyond that, then that will now clearly put where the Bureau fits in this composition. But actually, let's preempt what is the composition of the Bureau in relation to the National Assembly senior management. And if, like other places, the Bureau of the National Assembly comprise the Speaker and his deputies, as well as the chairpersons and then the vice chairs and rapporteurs of the committees. Elsewhere, we have the Bureau comprising these personnel. If that is the situation at the level of the National Assembly here, it will not be necessary to say the chairperson, vice chairperson, and rapporteurs plus the Bureau, because other places the Bureau comprises the chairpersons and their vices as well as the rapporteurs. So I want to have that clarification regarding the composition of the Bureau of the National Assembly of the Gambia. And the designation of chairmanship. Here it is automatically designated to the Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia. I want to believe is by the virtue of his or her position as the head of the Assembly. If that stands, why not his or her deputy to be his or her deputy instead of the committee electing a deputy from among itself? Otherwise, the chairpersonship should also be open to the committee to elect among itself who should be the chairperson. It is my belief that it is the position of the Speaker. That's why this designation is given by virtue of that. It should be the same designation of the Deputy Speaker to act as the Deputy Chairperson instead of electing from among the members. That's my observation. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Brikama North. May I now call on Honorable Member for Jara East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. I just have a few observations. For the purpose of our records, Mr. Speaker, The essence of bringing this motion to the floor of the House is basically for the motion to enjoy official credence. That is for it to be formalized. That's the long and short of it. Mr. Speaker, if you go to the motion where you have Honorable Speaker, with your indulgence, this motion is in accordance with Section 1091E of the 1997 Constitution, which specifically provides for the National Assembly to create such other standing committee or other committees as it considers, for the purpose of record, as it considers necessary for the exercise of its functions, considers. The next, we have all witnessed, it should be in the past tense, witnessed, for record's purpose. We have all witnessed in the past. Mr. Speaker, it is very important that we have this committee in place. This, I would call it the committee in chief, or the super committee, because it is charged with overseeing or coordinating or directing, the work of other committees. So this committee is very, very important. If you come to meetings of the conference, now that the nomenclature is meeting of committees, it reads, the conference shall meet quarterly. I have a problem with this. Quarterly. Quarterly, provided that the assembly is not in plenary session. What if the committee is confronted with an exigency during sessions? Does it mean that matters will be swept under the carpet? May God forbid. If we are confronted with something that is very, very important, that cannot be left untreated. But because we are in session, I think provision should be made for us to attend to matters that are of exigency, that borders on national security. I think provision should be made for that. Mr. Speaker, this is very timely, and I thank the leadership of the Assembly for their innovative leadership style. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Jara East. But going by this document, the meeting of the conference, if you read it through, what you are seeing, the provision is captured. Okay? May I now call on Honorable Member for Opanyumi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I also thank the Honorable Member for Gambia for tabling this motion this morning. And I also like to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk for conveying or forming this particular committee, which is, to me, is timely. Honorable Speaker, when you go through the motion, where you have the second, Honorable Speaker, the second paragraph, the rationale behind forming this committee, with your indulgence, I may read. We have all witnessed in the past where committee sittings classes and honorable members find it difficult to choose which committee to attend. This makes the members to shift between committees during sittings. This we all know affects the effectiveness and efficiency of members in terms of delivery, which is very true. I think one way or the other, we all find ourselves in this situation. So if the essence of forming this committee is coming to address that, then I think it's something of important. And also when you go to the mandate and functions, where you have to identify strengths and weaknesses of committee system and management. In as much as you identify the strengths and weaknesses, I think there is also a need to identify the opportunities and the threat of the committees as well. I think those one also is somehow important. And notwithstanding, Honorable Speaker, I give my full support to this motion, and I pray that it's not as dormant as other committees which are in the National Assembly, like the Committee of Privilege and Ethics Committee, which is very important and is not functioning. So that's my warning. So thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I beg this move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. The floor is.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for the floor. Honorable Speaker, this document is very, very timely, but notwithstanding, I have few observations to share with the Assembly. At the last page, the first paragraph, where it says meetings of the conference shall meet quarterly, and I think the Honorable Member for Woolley has said that there is no constitutional provision here that we can set a committee like conference, but it has to be a committee, but not a conference or what. And for quarterly, there is no provision in the Constitution that provides the meetings of quarterly meeting of a committee in this Assembly. And if you go further, it says that chairperson or open request by not less than 6 members. And I think the quorum here is 3. So why 6 now? So I think we need to be careful about the Constitution in regards to the works that we are to do. Going back to the mandate and functions of the committee again, if we go to the same Constitution 109, committees shall be appointed. We have seen it, but when you look at it, Section 109 to A and B, Honorable Speaker, you will find out that there is no specific time or period or function that is given to a particular committee here that is to limit their powers where to stop in doing their work or doing their functioning. So therefore, why did we highlight these 5 as this is going to be the function of this particular committee? Because now we knew that we cannot form a committee and call that committee a conference, Bureau of Conference. It has to be a particular committee. And having that particular committee, what the Constitution defines and what we are trying to do here, it seems to be in otherwise. Going further, Honorable Speaker, we have also seen here that it says, Section 109, subsection 2B, it says that to investigate any matter of public importance, and National Assembly is a public institution. If we form any committee here, we should know that one day or the other, that particular committee may go out to do public functioning. But if we limited the powers of this particular committee into these 5 stages, whereas no one pray for it, but when it comes to a circumstances beyond our control, what are we going to do as a committee? So I believe anything that we are going to do here, we should look at the constitutionality of the things that we are to do. Because Bureau of Chairpersons and Conference cannot be called a committee. And if we are to do something here, that should make this a legal document, or that should make it, that should give him a legal backing. It has to be a committee. And the committee, the functions, the powers, and the mandate is defined in the Constitution. So why are we limiting the powers of this particular committee? This is my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. Honorable Member for Banjul North.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I don't have much to say, but to welcome the establishment of this mechanism, all geared towards improving the work that we do here to ensure effectiveness and efficiency. I just want us also to be clear that this committee is coming to support the work of the other committees. It is a peer review sort of mechanism. It is a forum that serves for the adoption of best practice. It is a forum that should be
consultative, and I've not seen that captured in the mandate. It has to be, like if you go to the mandate, page 2, the mover of the motion, ensure collective and effective planning, coordination. Consultation should be there as well. Consultation, because it is a mechanism where the respective committees and management converge and then review what we are doing in concert. So the consultative element is key there, and as I also indicated, it's also a peer review sort of mechanism where we can learn from each other as to how our committees operate and the challenges that we face so that we'll avoid pitfalls of other committees. I just want to refer the honorable members, particularly the mover of the motion, to page 1, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th paragraph. We have all witnessed in the past where committee sittings clash. I don't think this is a problem, because we should not also restrict the operation of committees, the work of committees, the time that they, because if you go to clause 75(9) of the standing orders, 3 honorable members constitute a quorum. So committees should proceed meeting. You can be a member, you choose. You can choose where you want to go for a meeting. So, but that should not mean that Committee 1 is meeting, therefore Committee 2 should not meet, because there are members in Committee 1 who are also interested in Committee 2. So I don't think this should be a restriction. We should not do anything in curtailing the work of committees. I think this is a forum where we've all agreed that committees are coming up with their plans, what they intend to do, the activity plan for the year. It can even be decided here whether it's going to be quarterly or semi-annually or annually, that we can present our plans before the committee and then see. Like for instance, I think where the challenge is when we are rolling out, and because there is a challenge in terms of mobility, that's the only thing. Otherwise, we can even roll out together. All the committees can roll out if there were mobility, there was mobility. We have vehicles that can, accommodate all the committees to roll out. The reason why I'm saying is this is that there shouldn't be anything that should restrict the operation of committees, because some committees need to be meeting regularly because of exigencies in the areas that are under their purview. So I just wanted to draw the attention of the honorable members that this should not be a challenge. This should not be an issue. Should not be one of the justifications for establishing this committee. Regarding the name, well, of course, as highlighted, the nomenclature is not captured in the Constitution, so we can just say we can adopt the committee of chairpersons. And someone also said, how does management fit in? And bureau, because you cannot say chairpersons, vice chairperson, rapport. It's going to be a long name. I'm also proposing we can have committee of chairpersons, bureau, and management. That can, bureau means all those who are office holders in the respective committees. That is chairperson, vice chairperson, and rapporteurs. They constitute bureaus of committees. And you can say bureau, if the X is there, I think it's French, it's plural. You can also you say bureaus, you can add the S there. So that's a proposal I'm floating, that we can, in order to capture, and when you say management, that means senior management of the assembly, that is the clerk and the office of the clerk, and all those who are, complementing the clerk in his or her work. So basically, this is what I have for the, as my intervention. I do support the establishment of this body. It is long overdue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul North. Honorable nominated Member Majanko Samusa, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for allowing me to associate myself Honorable Speaker, this committee of bureau or conference, whatever, proposed is really, Honorable Speaker, welcome. It is long overdue, Honorable Speaker. As alluded by the member for Busumbala, this should have happened since the inception. Time is not on our side. By now, we would have moved, hadn't been this thing has been established since the inception. However, nothing is never less than ever. But I have observations, Honorable Speaker, to these proposals. Honorable Speaker, you have some members who are carrying 2 or 3 committees. What are you going to do with those people? Because committees should have one care. But if one individual is carrying 6 committees, 4 committees, 5 committees, this is why I always advocated. Luckily, things of this kind has come. That's a contradiction here. You are one person carrying 6 committees, 4 committees, 3 committees, 2 committees. How many members are here? We have 58 or 56 or 57. Some are here, they are not vice chairs. They are not neither a chair of a committee. And it is their right. You all have the right to handle a responsibility in this August House, Honorable Speaker. Now, the proposal is in order, is accepted, is welcomed by members, but the setting up, the system, I think we need to look into that in order to make a fair play. I think, in my view, before the completion of this, we should have waited until the standing order, the new standing order is adopted. The reason is there are a lot of changes that has come, that are in the new standing order. So I think it will be proper, Honorable Speaker. We can make the plans, but to adopt this, we have to wait until we adopt this, the new standing order. Whereas those who are not entitled to hold position of a care and they are deleted, the new standing order did not allow them. Those committees' positions should be filled by others. I think, Honorable Speaker, this is an issue that we should consider. Proposal is fantastic. It's highly welcome. And we're going to adopt it. But my proposal, my suggestion is we wait until we adopt the standing order. Because there are a lot of changes in the standing order in order to conform with this committee of bureaus, the setting up the committee of bureaus. Because if you do it, you have when the standing order is adopted, we're going back again to create another changes, to bring another changes. I think we still have time to wait until the next, after this next session, we adopt, even during the course of the next session, we can adopt the standing order and call for a meeting and then, adopt this document, where then those who were deleted as clear, their positions are, the committees that are, vacant position of, cares can be answered, fitting. Everybody here is entitled to. This is a democracy. You cannot make one person, 2, 3 committee care. This is why we say the new standing order. And this committee would, I am making a proposal, should make sure that the interest of the committee, the interest of the House, people will not be a care or a vice chair or member of this bureau. Still we are suffering like the authorities that we have here. For 2.5 years up till today, the authority of this August House is unable to satisfy this August House. We have problems and series of problems. Now if we come to create an important committee like this, they should be very mindful, Honorable Speaker, and try to be to make a fair play on the interests of the members. It's very important, Honorable Speaker. This is the proposal I have too, that we adjourn this until we adopt the standing order. When that's the time, we will be able to regularize things that are proposed in this document. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Nominated Member. May I now call on Honorable Minority Leader and Member for...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Honorable Speaker, we are here to establish something new in the Assembly. That's a committee of Conference of Bureaus. Honorable Speaker, the nominated member just take his seat. We are in the process of having a new standing orders. I think the best was to give this mandate to the standing order committee, to embed it in the new standing order, since we don't adopt it yet, so that it could give them a room to make a thorough research, because this is something that is new. We need to look how it operates in other parliaments, and that you cannot do it without making research. I think that was the proper way. They have a thorough research, know how it works in Ghana, how it works in Sierra Leone, how it works in other jurisdictions. That they will combine this together so that they can give the committee a proper TOR or responsibilities, rather than just rushing on it, just to create it, and we leave it like that. Honorable Speaker, that's my opinion. I don't think we need to hurry about this thing. This standing order, we are creating a new rule of procedure. Why don't we just give them that mandate? Let them go and embed it there. We adopt it at the same time. Because we will create it here. We have so many committees, as a member just alluded to. They are virtually dormant. Until today, there are some committees that are, since we did the selection, until today, they never start for a meeting. Completely dormant. You see, it's not about creating the committee, but its efficiency is very important. And I think the member for Busumbala talked about it until he mentioned autonomy. If we create all these committees, and we are not autonomy, and the committees, as he said, they are the engine of this house, and they cannot function without funds. They can't function without funds. Members know anytime you want to you want to do an activity, the next excuse you will be given, there is no funds. And all this thing is a breach of the autonomy of this assembly. If we don't have it, we will be creating committees here, creating committees, they will be never efficient. Honorable Speaker, I think I want to move a motion so that this matter will be referred to the standing committee. So for the standing order committee, for them to make a thorough research on this matter and then embed it in the new standing order. Then we adopt it together. I thank you. Move a motion for this matter to be referred to the standing order committee.
Any seconder to the motion? Lower Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the motion.
Can I make an observation before you take a vote on this motion?
You want to?
I want to make an observation before you take a vote on the motion.
You can go ahead with your observation.
The honorable member's motion is not bad, but there is no harm Parliament creating this committee, because whether or not you like it, after creating it has to come to the Standing Orders Committee. It will be our responsibility to deal with other matters that he is raising. But Parliament has to decide whether or not you want to create this committee. Once you make a decision to create it, then it becomes our responsibility to do what he is saying. So there is no problem with creating it now here. There is no problem with it at all. It is our job to do what he is suggesting after its creation. Because the standing orders have not been adopted yet. So it is good that this is created and everything is done to include it in the new standing orders before they are adopted here. That's a better procedure.
Thank you, Honorable Member. If I heard you well, it means that we can go ahead in adopting this and then it can be later referred to the Standing Order Committee. So
no,
I
but,
think what
no, but there was.
Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader and Member for Nyamina Dankunku, do you still want to go by your motion or you withdraw your motion?
What the member for Woodley was here, but I think you refer before approval. That's how we operate here. We refer matter to a standing committee before we approve it.
Honorable Speaker,
here we are not only talking about creation. If you looked at it, it's not only about creation. It entails a lot of, if it's demanded, it's been embedded. To my opinion, honestly, Honorable Speaker, is to give them demanded. But the House will give them demanded if they go, make their research, know how it operates, they embed it in the standing order, then we will look at it.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minority Leader, do you still go by your motion or you withdraw the motion, we adopt it and then refer it to the committee? I'm not hearing you.
The motion is already seconded, so
been seconded, but minority, you are entitled to withdraw the motion. That is your opinion.
So you don't want to withdraw?
But I think if the motion is seconded, it's owned by the House now. So
Okay, put the vote.
Okay.
maybe it could be a counter motion then.
Now what are we going to say?
Observation.
Honorable Speaker, I withdraw. I withdraw the motion.
The motion is withdrawn.
Please. Oh, it's withdrawn?
Yes.
Okay.
So we proceed.
Thank you. But that young man over there.
Let's proceed on this.
No, that young man over there.
They were talking about the issue, so the issue has been withdrawn.
They're withdrawn, yeah, but he is raising his hand. I think I should give him.
Alifa, I raise my tag, please.
Okay.
Yeah, what is his lower?
Okay. Lower side.
Honorable member for Lower Salum, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. But in procedurally, I mean, the honorable member raised a motion, and it was seconded by a member for Lower Badebo. Now, unless the guy get a counter motion, whereby we can continue or we vote, well, he cannot withdraw that motion immediately. I don't think.
Honorable member for Lower Salum, the mover of the motion has withdrawn. So I don't think there is any problem with that. Now, can I go to Honorable Member for Foni Bondali?
Let's proceed on
No, I think.
No, let's proceed.
Bondali, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also want to concur with the previous speakers.
Observation, Honorable Speaker. It's an observation. Observation.
Foni Bondali, you can go ahead, please.
Somebody is calling your attention for observation.
Observation, Honorable Speaker.
I'm not taking your observation, please. Honorable Member for Foni Bondali, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the floor. I also want to join my voice to the speakers that we need to have this committee in place, because if you look at their first page, paragraph 5, we have all witnessed that in the past, where committee sittings class and honorable members find it difficult to choose which committee to attend. I have witnessed it here. There are members who will come and attend committee's meeting, 2 or 3 meetings in a day. And it is not proper for a member to attend 2 or 3 committee meetings in a day. It will not be effective. So to establish this committee, I think it is in the right direction. But I have a doubt here in the mandate and functions of the committee. If you look at the mandate and the functions of the committee also, it is it is good also to have this of their mandate and their functions. But the membership of the conference, if you look at the membership of the conference also here, as nominated members have already said, we have so many, we have members here who are in so many committees, and they are the chairpersons of that committee. And if you look at the Speaker of the House here, she is in so many committees, and she is the chairperson of so many committees. And if you look at those committees are not effectively functioning their duties. So we have to tell the truth here. We are all one. We are all equal in this National Assembly. So you cannot lead so many committees, be a chairperson in so many committees, while those committees are dormant here. We are not going to accept it. We are not going to accept it. She has led so many committees here, and those committees are dormant. They are dormant. So why are we putting her again to be the chairperson of this committee? Our members are not capable to man those positions. Some members are here, they are capable to man those committees, to man those responsibilities. So I have a doubt here why we select her to be our chairperson of this committee. Thanks.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Fonyi Bondali. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Woodley East, and that's the last on my list. Woodley East.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I thank the mover of the motion for coming up with this initiative. I think it is about time that we formalize this conference of chairpersons and bureaus, because we've all seen the need for such an institution to be looking at how we operate. I think I would not buy the idea of the Honorable Member for Basse, because I think that is going to make the work of the whole assembly bureaucratic. For a committee, when a thing is referred to a committee, that committee goes and do their work and bring it to this other committee before it gets to the plenary. I think it's going to take time, considering the fact that what is proposed here is quarterly meeting. I think that's going to delay the work of the assembly. That's my opinion on that. Honorable Speaker, I think yes, you can observe.
Speaker.
You allow the observation, Honorable Member? Okay, Honorable Member for
Thank
Basse.
you very much, Honorable. Thank you for your kindness, for allowing me to observe you. If you continue your readings, but you will come up to an emergency meeting. That's what I have used to propose this, because there's another room, there's an emergency, they can call an emergency meeting. So that's the room that I have used. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Still, to be calling emergencies for that type of thing is still going to make our work bureaucratic. I'm still opposed to that idea. Honorable Speaker, what people are complaining about somebody holding various positions, I think one, it is because of the standing orders that we had. We create that type of situation. Secondly, it is our own making, where we decide, we accepted that somebody becomes a chairperson of a committee. So now what we are about to do here is, if you look at number one, the mandate, and so collective and effective planning, coordination, and review of committee operations. Once we adopt it, it is going to be their responsibility to look at everything that we do and propose changes, bring it to us for adoption. And work has to continue. I don't think we should say if we do this, we will have to do this again. We'll have to do things over and over and over. So I think we are still in order. We should just go ahead and approve this, and then allow the committee to look at our operations and make amendments, and then bring it to us, and we look at it again and then approve it, so that we move on. If somebody is holding six chairpersonship of 6 committees, when this thing is put in place, they have a mandate now to go and review that, and then propose that we check that person and replace the person in another form. I think that is still in order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member. May I now call on the Honorable Member for Janjambure, the mover of this motion, to respond to the issues and wind up the debate. Honorable Member for Janjambure.
I don't know. If you allow me, I want to make few observations to help you in answering some of the questions, because there is some questions which
maybe when I'm ready, you can do that.
Huh?
Okay, well.
No, the issue of the name, you see, he is very right. Usman was very right in his explanation. See, when you say conference of chairpersons and bureaus, it is tautological. When you say chairpersons are what constitute bureau. We either say committee of bureaus, full stop. That includes everything. Or if you want it to be long, you say committee of chairpersons, vice chairpersons, rapport. You know, that is very long. But it is this group that constitutes bureau. So we just say committee of bureaus. Full stop. That's what it is. That's one explanation. The other thing is, we are talking about membership. Technically, a staff of National Assembly cannot be a member of a committee of the National Assembly. They are not members. They are support staff. They are support to the committee, so in membership, management is not part of the committee. They can't be. They are a support staff. So that is another one. And then you are complaining about these committees that are not functional. No, it is not that the committees are not, they don't want to work. The National Assembly authorities should be very clear to honest to us. At the beginning of the year, they listed number of committees to be active. Others were shelved because they didn't have money, and they still don't have money for all the committees to be active at the same time. About six committees or so were made to be active. The rest were shelved. Whose problem is it? Is it because they don't want to work? No, because there is no money for them to work. So stop complaining about committee being in effect. Complain about the National Assembly.
Point of observation, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woodley West. Now, may I now, through the
point of observation,
Honorable nominated member.
Yeah, I'm observing
the mover of the motion is already on the floor.
Yes, but we are giving the chance to member from Woodley.
Can you allow the mover of the motion to go ahead with his response, please?
Yeah, okay. I'm appealing to the mover. I have an observation.
It is up to the mover to
but I must address you first. I must address you first. Let mover
accept his observations.
Yes. Thank you very much, honorable mover of the motion. My observation is the point the member for Woodley West is trying to establish. That's not the issue. It's not because, understand, the office of the clerk or the authority, understand, they don't have money. The National Assembly don't have. No. That has never come because that any time, understand, they want to, any committee want to function to call for a meeting, you will be able to do it like any other committee. They never stop. They never stop anybody. But it's just because the people who are heading does not have the time. They don't want to work effectively. Let's speak the truth. The truth of the matter is the head of the institutions, the committees, neglecting, they have other issues to look after more important to them than to call for a meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable nominated member. Honorable member, the mover, please, can you go ahead in the
Thank you very much.
Addressing issues and wind up the debate, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I thank all the members here present and all those who contributed in fine-tuning this document I just presented. First of all, I want to make it very clear that we are talking about a committee. I've taken down your concerns and I'll forward it to the committee. Right? But nonetheless, there are a few things that I want to clarify. This issue of committees not functioning, I think we need to be honest with ourselves now. If I am a member of a committee that is not functioning because of my chairperson or my deputy chairperson, why don't you remove them and put in another person who will be functional? We cannot sit here and start blaming people, not organizing meetings, and you are a member of that. If the chairperson is blamed, you will be blamed too. Because you need to make sure that he functions as a chairperson or not a deputy chairperson, or you remove him. You have those powers. The committee has the powers to do that. All right? So let's not start blaming each other for. I think it is true there are some people who man a lot of chairperson positions. All right? But this, we should also remember, was approved by our very selves here. We approved it. So if we want to remove it, probably we can come up with a motion and remove it.
Point of observation, a mover, you are not in position to stand up to defend those guys. That's not the sense of your mover of the
nominated
You are here, understand? No, you cannot understand. That stand to defend those people.
Honorable nominated member, please.
No, that's not your fundamental. To be fair with the people.
Honorable member, please take your seat.
Mr. Speaker, observation, Mr. Speaker. Observation, Mr. Speaker.
I'm not taking your observation, please. Let the mover of the motion wind up the debate, please.
Point of order.
I want to.
Point of order.
Who are you putting? Who is your point of order for?
Honorable Speaker,
what is your point of order?
My point of order is once the mover of the motion is on his legs, no other member should rise up to say anything.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. That's why I asked the honorable nominated member to sit down. And then I asked the mover of the motion to go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this we need to be revising our standing orders so that we are more aware with what is in there. Like I say, I have taken down all the comments from each and every member that has took the floor and spoke on, and I am going to forward this to the Bureau, and we shall see which ones to be incorporated. I fully agree that these documents should be given to the committee to start to look at how they can incorporate this in the...
Honorable member for Janjambure, please just allow me a second.
Thank you.
Honorable members, I propose that the minority leader take the care. I am assigned to go somewhere and the time is up. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable minority leader, you can please come and take the care. Thank you.
The mover of the motion, member for Janjambure, proceed.
Speaker, I don't want to go into individual comments because that may take some time. And I just want to sum up, just to tell members that this is a committee that has been newly created. And this is the first document. The reason for creation of this is not a doubt to any one of us that there is a need for this, because all the members have expressed that there is a need for it. Right? So the way and manner is what we are trying to discuss, and we will look into this and then give it to the Bureau, the committee, to include this in the new standing order, so that we all understand this bureau as a new bureau that is going to take care of our businesses. I just want to emphasize that we all know here that there are certain times a lot of committees are to meet and they cannot even have a place to meet. It's not a question of how many people are present to meet. No, it's a facility where you meet. On a lot of occasions, our committee, we try to meet even in the office of the minority leader. And sometimes the number of people that are there cannot even fit in that office. Those are some of the things that the bureau is to look into. All right? And the quorum for 6 people, we will look into it. If there is a need for us to increase it, we will increase it. Right? If there is a need to, but we should remember this consists of elected people and non-elected people. So this is why we bring it up to 6. But if there is a need, we will look into it. And then before it is put into the new standing order, the standing order committee will look into it and then recommend any other amount of people that needs to be a quorum. So on that note, like I said, we'll take these comments and we'll look into it at the committee level. All right? And then include whatever we should include in the document and then give it to the standing order committee. So on that note,
Mr. Speaker, before he takes leave of, can I come in?
Hello, Member Brikamanot. I think it will be out of order to give you the floor now. The mover already completed winding of his debate.
There are issues when he clarified, and then there are certain issues that are not clear.
You have something that you want to clarify.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it is proper for the mover of the motion to say that the points are noted. When they go back as a committee, they will look into. This is something that we're supposed to adopt here. It is going to be adopted as amended. Amendment has to be done, not necessarily for them to go to the level of their committees and do the necessary amendment. Let him just look at the observations that were made by the various honorable members. If so, as we agree that we need to consider those observations and amend, there we do so. Notably, the observations are on the title, with a conference of chairpersons and vice chairpersons, or the committee of chairpersons and vice chairpersons, or the committee of bureau. But to me, in fact, the shortest is the bureau.
Thank you, Honorable Member from Brikamanot. Now, I think what you should do, you can move a motion for an amendment.
No, before we do, I mean, the observations that were individual, there are a series of observations that were made. This is just one. And the other observation that I personally made, that he did not comment on, is regarding the chairpersonship. It is made mention that the speaker should be the chairperson.
Okay. Member for Brikamanot, to my observation, you are saying the mover of the motion did not respond adequately.
Yes, the observations that were made. Yeah.
You can now forward your concern so that at least he can address them.
I said here that I don't want to go individually into, but if that is what the committee, the assembly wants, I can do that. I can do that.
Observation, Honorable Speaker.
I think the member for Brikamanot, if you have something that you put on during your debate and it is not clearly answered, you can still now make a follow-up question to the mover.
Okay. The first point is the title. I raised that there, now as it stood at that time I was speaking, we had 3 options on the table. The first one is a current title, and the second one, the one proposed by Honorable Member for Woolly, and the third one is one proposed by Honorable Member for Upper Salum. But altogether, I was trying to look for a clarification on what is the composition of the Bureau of the National Assembly of the Gambia. If he does so and disqualifies, then I will say the title can only be summed up to only the Bureau of the National Assembly. So I want him to clarify on that.
According to our standing orders, section 28, when any motion is under consideration in the assembly or in a committee thereof, an amendment may be proposed to the motion if it is relevant thereto. Here in this case, you need to move a motion for an amendment. Then we now consider the amendment.
Speaker, I don't think you understand us very well. Before we may come from the mover of the motion, what his take on the issue, if actually we are convincing enough that as put forward, it's okay. But if otherwise, then thereafter we can come with our motion. But at this moment we cannot come unless and until we hear from him.
Observation. Mr. Speaker.
Okay, the mover, you can now respond.
I think what the Honorable wants is to go after all the comments one by one. If that is what he wants, we can do that. All right? Okay? Okay, then I start with Busumbala. On the overall, he talked about this committee being is overdue.
Excuse me. A point of observation, please.
Please, mover, can you sit down? Can somebody move a motion for the assembly to sit beyond 1 o'clock?
Okay.
Member for Busimbala.
I rise to move a motion for the assembly to sit beyond 1 o'clock.
Any seconder?
Seconded.
Jara East.
I rise to second the motion.
I have observation.
It has been moved and seconded that this assembly sit beyond 1 o'clock. Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Now the assembly sit beyond 1 o'clock. You please continue on responding.
Okay.
Observation, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Busumbala.
Observation.
Can you observe first?
Observation.
Point of observation is only it's only the mover that can give you that mandate. Now it's left to him. If you give it to him,
please.
Yes.
If you are still on second, then we can go.
Yeah. Honorable Speaker, I think it will be very prudent if the mover can respond to the member for Brikamanot, but not the whole assembly, because we are satisfied with it. Thank you.
I think that's what he is doing.
No, excuse me. Can I observe, please?
No, I don't think that's what the member for Brikama wants. He wants me to go through the comments.
But Brikama need an adequate response, because I talked to him whether it is only about the amendment. If it is only about the amendment, let him move a motion for those amendments.
No, he is saying.
Can I observe?
He is saying that.
Can I come in?
Can I observe?
Can I come in? I am saying.
Can you allow the mover of the motion to continue make the clarification that I needed, please?
Can I observe?
Okay. I think the idea of Busumbala, you talked about the proposal that this committee should be meeting after every plenary. I think this is a good idea. But again, like I say, we will look into it. And then if we give it to committee of standing order committee, they will try to line it up with the standing order to see whether it is feasible. All right? But we do say in the document that we'll be meeting quarterly. All right? So these quarterly meetings shall continue. Woolly West, your idea of changing the name to Committee of Bureau, I think this is the shortest form, and this is the most reasonable one. Yeah, so we'll adopt that. All right? Member for Basse, you talked about the committee reviewing reports after being laid in the plenary here. And I think that's one of the functions. That would be one of the functions of the committee. You said you said the committee, all committees' reports should be laid before laying them here. They should go through this committee.
Member for Basse, stop your consultation with the mover. Give him time to at least respond.
I want to doubt this, but probably I'll stand to be corrected. Before the bureau, because of the number of people in that bureau, you want to give these reports to them to look at before laying them at the plenary here, and thereafter. Well, I tend to think that would be too much, but it's left to the committee. And you talked about the inclusion of parliamentary groups, chairperson to be included in the committee. Well, I think that's a good idea. The chairpersons of the parliamentary groups, since we are talking of committee of bureaus, I think they should be part of it. And Oposalum talked about the committee looking at the budget of the assembly before presentation. I tend to think that this is a job that should be left with the management. We have the final. We will have the final end here. If we approve anything, that is what would be sanctioned. If we don't approve it, it will never be. So at the end of the day, it is us that matters and not what they prepare there. If we are not prepared, if we are not satisfied with what they prepare, we can always tell them. All right?
Observation.
Yes, member for Woodley West.
Yes, I think...
Can you please...
I'm not in his mind, but I think what he meant was this, that committees, after having formulated their budgets, because every committee should formulate a budget, those budgets will be submitted to this bureau, to this committee of bureaus for review. I think that's what he meant.
If that is it, then that's reasonable. That's reasonable, because every committee prepares your work plan, which is budgeted, and this should be given to this committee to look at before it is put in there. That can be done. Brikama South. Brikama North. You talked about the change of the name. Now it is clear that we will adopt the bureau of the committee of bureaus. Okay? That you're talking about the chairmanship of this committee. I would agree. There are a lot of committees which she is the chair too. But again, like I say, we created this. Because I don't think this was in the standing committee that she should. Yeah. So if members are not satisfied, I had your dissatisfactions, but there is no proposal that you made. All right? Come up with a proposal to say, well, we are against the speaker being the chair of this. Like somebody said here that if the speaker is going to be the chair, the deputy speaker should be the deputy chair. That's a proposal. But if you are only saying we don't want the speaker to be the chair, come up with a proposal so that we know we can be able to change. Right?
Cabinet, can you please allow him to complete his responding? If you have any follow-up after he finishes responding, then you can bring in your question.
Jara was talk about emergencies or exigencies if arise. Jara is sorry. All right? He talked about when there occurs an exigency. Well, I think we are all reasonable here. When there is no time for the meeting, we can just postpone it to a later date. Right? Emergency will always exist. It will always exist. Right? But when it exists, we should be reasonable enough with each other to understand that the committee cannot meet at this time. It has to be proposed the following week or a few days thereafter. Okay? Opo Salum. Well, I think I addressed your, okay. Opo Badibu talked about the quorum from 3 in the committees to 6 now. Why? Lower Badibu, okay, I have Opo Badibu. Well, like we say, this committee comprises National Assembly members and the senior management of the Assembly. So this is why we thought 3 for the National Assembly, but 6 for this committee would suffice. But if there is a proposal, also you can come up to say, we feel...
Observation, Honorable Speaker. Just 1 minute.
Just allow him. You can always come with your follow-up question if you finish responding.
Okay. Banjul North. Also talked about the quorum. He also talked about the quorum. But also, again, no proposal. I agree, the committee is a large committee, it's huge. Probably the quorum should be even more than 6. Well, it depends. All right? So, but I would have appreciated if recommendations were made. It's 6 that is mentioned, but we thought 4 could suffice, or 2 could suffice, or 10. Right? A proposal would have been more ideal. Honorable nominated member Majanko spoke about this chairmanship again. Chairperson. Although he is not here, but I would want to tell him that it is our collective responsibility in this National Assembly to ensure that all committees that were created by our very selves function. If they don't function, it is our own responsibility. It is our own making, our own creation. Right? Get up. Let's stop sleeping. We should not be ashamed of anybody to tell him the truth. Right? So if you sit here and you said, I am the chairperson, because I'm not available, the deputy is not there, so the committee cannot meet. I don't think that is fair with the committee. There are other members who, in fact, maybe there are some elected members in the committee that could have taken these positions. Change them so that the end product of this creation of these committees is to ensure that they do what they are expected to do. Minority, you made a proposal that before we approve, we send this to the committee. Well, I think he finally withdrew his... And you also talked about dormancy of some of the committees. Well, like I say, I think if any member is here you are in a committee and you are not satisfied with the way the committee is functioning, you have the right to tell the chairperson. And if he doesn't, you still continue to dormant, write to the committee and say you are leaving. Go to another committee that is functioning. You have that right. You have that right. Or go to a committee that you feel can be functional. or it would address your needs. But you still continue there and you want to blame people for not taking their chairmanship positions. I don't think that is fair. Bondalis also spoke about the same chairmanship problem. I agree with you. And we have been saying it, that some people are chairpersons of a lot of committees. One, I blame myself and we blame ourselves for making them chairpersons of those committees. But hopefully, with the creation of these new standing orders, we will be able to eradicate some of those bottlenecks, right? But again, I would have preferred if you have told me that the speaker cannot be chairperson, we want Honorable X or chairperson X to chair this. That would have been a good proposal. And then Willie East also talked about some people in more than 3 committees. Well, we have been told here that committees are selected based on party lines and gender lines. That's what we are told here. Huh? Each committee has to have all the parties represented. Each committee has to have a female. And how many female do we have here? No. I have, yes. Well, okay, when I'm ready, you can come up. But those are some of the, if there is any comment that you made that is not addressed, please come up. This committee is still under creation. And I say, like I say, I was not prepared to do this because I thought probably we were in a hurry that today we are coming back again and it would have taken a lot of time. So that was why I didn't do it. But I could have done that from day one. And again, this is not my personal view, it's the view of the committee that matters. All right? I cannot stand here and tell you that I will do this, or we will do this. Because if I take it to the committee and they said no, what can I do? This is why I said all the comments are taken and will be forwarded to the committee and included in the document before it is handed over to the committee that is going to line it up with the new standing orders. So I think that could have sufficed. But nonetheless, if there are any other comments that I did not address, please come up with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the mover of the motion. Brikama Note from the Lower Badibu, Woolly West.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, on the title, I think he has addressed that one now, agreed to call it the Committee of Bureaus. But equally, I pose a question regarding that, that is the membership to the committee. If we call it the Committee of Bureaus, where do you fit the National Assembly senior management in the Committee of Bureaus?
Thank you very much, member for Brikama Note.
That's one. That was part of my observation that he did not touch.
Yes, I just want to come in there. You see, the member for Woolly West, I think he talked about how it should go. And then I believe if the mover could not address that, but another colleague have addressed how it should be captured, I think that should satisfy you.
Maybe it was he did not pick it, but he should be commenting on it. Then it is not the member from Woolly West. We may take that as the opinion of the member of Woolly West. Okay, to go from that, I also made mention on the issue of the speaker designated as chair. Actually, I was not trying to question the number of committees that the speaker is chairing, because I know the new standing order will address that. But what I'm trying to say here is that the speaker is designated as chair. I want to believe by virtue of his or her position as speaker. In the same vein also, the deputy speaker should be the deputy chair instead of the members elected from among themselves. That was the issue I was trying to put.
Any response on that? Because it was a proposal from him. Brikama North, I guess that one was a proposal.
Yes, I proposed that instead of the members electing the deputy speaker, the deputy chair rather, from among themselves, what qualifies the speaker to be the chair should also qualify the deputy speaker to be the deputy chair. What is your take on that?
I think that one, it is the committee. Or if, yeah, should decide that, not the mover himself. This is why he presented before us. Yes, Willie West.
You see, the document that the mover has brought this morning is a mere proposal. It is not final. It is we here in this chamber who will decide what is final. So all that we have said here is what is not, what we are agreeing now is what is going to stand and not what you have in your paper. And the mistake you made in the paper is that instead of saying the speaker will, it should be a proposal. You can only propose to the assembly, but you cannot dictate to the assembly. The way it is like a dictation. And then the other thing, let me, since you've given me the floor, quorum, you cannot vary it. Quorum is 3 for all committees. You cannot vary it. It's, even if you have 1 million committee members, quorum is 3. It cannot be more than that.
Lower Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Member for Woolly West has just answered part of my question. I just want to buttress on that, the issue of the quorum. In the Constitution and the Standing Order, whether we have 1 million, but the quorum says, the Standing Order says 3. So it doesn't mean the virtue or the large number of the committee. And also, trying to restrict the function of the committee also cannot be here, because the Constitution doesn't allow us to do so. You cannot say these are the functions that this particular committee should do. No. If you go back to the Constitution 109 2B, you will heard that it says that to investigate any matter of public importance, any matter, this is open. So we cannot restrict that this is what this particular committee should do. So it means we are trying to violate our own making here. We have the power to make any committee that we want, fine. But we also don't have the power to say this particular committee should subject it to this. No. Thank you.
Okay, Bondali.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell the mover of the motion that I said the Speaker is handling chairperson positions to so many committees, and I recommend that there are members here who can handle that positions. So I have made my proposals, and also I have recommended. I didn't single out the names of the people that can handle that position, but I said there are members here that can take that position and deliver it effectively.
Woolly East, last Brikama South.
Now, if, like the mover of the motion has said, if you have a suggestion that the speaker should not be the chair of this, and you have tangible reasons, then you can make a proposal to say, let's make this particular person the chairperson of this. But like the Brikama North member said, if the speaker is the chair of this committee, he thinks that it should have been automatic for the deputy speaker to be the deputy chair. My suspicion is that the reason why they make the speaker to be chairing this is because this is having direct connection to the authority, to the assembly authority, for smooth decision-making process. That's my suspicion. So
Sorry, we say, what is your suspicion?
My suspicion is, because there is nothing clear why the speaker is made the chair of this, but my suspicion is, as head of the institution, it will be more appropriate for her to be the head of this. That is my suspicion, and I think if my suspicion is right, then I think that's a correct decision. But now, when it comes to the deputy chair, I think, like all other select committees, we allow the committee to go and have their meeting and do the selection of the vice chair of the committee. I think what they have put here is right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I only want to observe certain things procedurally. If the mover of the motion respond to almost all the issues and you open up another debate, it's going to be confusing. I want us to understand that this document emerged from a committee. I think most of us are part of it. He alone cannot decide on what has been tabled here. Most of us are members, and we are going back again. What has been observed, we understand it, and we are going to sit over it again and look at it critically to make sure that we resolve those issues before coming here. But opening up another debate is going to be very
Thank you,
confusing.
member for Beckham. I don't think I opened a debate. He moved a motion, and members debate on the motion, and they need clarification. I think that's what we are doing. It is his responsibility to make all those clarifications. I did not open the debate. Member for Basse, you are the last person.
Thank you very much. Let me refer the member to to clause 28 of the standing order, which says when any motion is under consideration in the assembly or in a committee thereof, an amendment may be proposed to the motion if it is relevant thereto. So I want to assure the member that the motion is still under consideration. Honorable Speaker, there's another another clause of
Member for Basse, are you bringing new element, or you still have something? Then the mover of the motion, would you want him to clarify something? Because that's the stage we are.
I want to come with a motion.
I don't know.
I want to come with a
You want to come with a motion?
Honorable Speaker, I rise to move a motion for the motion under consideration on the establishment of Conference of Chairpersons and the Bureau of Committees be approved with observation and be referred to the Standing Orders Committee for necessary corrections.
Honorable Member for Basse, can you make us understand your motion?
Honorable Speaker, the reason why I moved this motion, if you want an explanation, or you want me to read the motion again?
Motion.
Thank you very much. Since the matter is still confusing, we cannot come to a term, and the debate is prolonging. The issues cannot be compiled, and we have this room that there is a standing orders committee that can take care of this situation to satisfy everybody. Is in relation to that I would like to propose in a form of a motion, so that this document now will be referred to the Standing Orders Committee with all the observation put on the table for proper correction. That's the reason of my motion. Approved first, then referred for correction.
Honorable Member, there is a motion moved by the member for Basse.
Observation. Before the vote on the motion?
There is a motion. There is a motion. Before observation, that motion must be seconded. Any seconder?
Okay, second your motion and I...
Member for Busumbala.
Yes, thank you. I rise to second the motion of the Honorable Member for Basi.
It has been moved that the motion be referred to the Standing Order Committee. Those in favor? No. Is there any counter?
No, it has been moved and...
It has been moved that the motion be referred, be approved with amendment and be referred to the Standing Order Committee. Those in favor, please say aye. Those in not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Now the motion is moved, is referred to the Standing Order Committee. Then the Standing Order Committee will now review it, look at it thoroughly, then come back to Parliament.
I don't understand what you said first and what you are saying now. The motion is adopted with amendments and referred to the Standing Order Committee. That was what you said earlier on. I said you said that the motion is that the motion is adopted with amendment and referred to the Standing Order Committee. Is that what you said? Good.
The motion, if I heard him right, is saying with amendments and approved, and then
Standing Order Committee. Okay. It's very simple.
Okay. With approved. That has to be there.
The House stand adjourned on suspended until 4 o'clock.
Next track. For you wanna smoke marijuana free. Oh yo 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 yo. Emperor Selassie I. Jaja is the only way. Rastaman I say. Nobody wanna turn a depend on. When you're wrong, nobody wanna plan it on. Everybody wanna read the band. Happy sing your own a song. Can't compete with Kelly John. I was looking at start. Just a little ease up. No one who help me push this whole and car. Them a laugh. Never take we serious. So many goals and pass. Patos I pass every day. My Lord, I have to pray on my way. Yahweh, they never realize it's an operation. To the high, they see frustration. They want to.
Nous sommes en tête des sondages actuellement. Cantar Africa a déjà fait une étude sur ça et nous avons une nette avance par rapport à la coalition Manko Herdip. Sur les réseaux sociaux, 90% des mentions sont positives et donc nous ne pouvons qu'espérer que les votes seront en notre faveur.
Je ne crois pas qu'on doit s'inquiéter. La campagne a connu un franc succès et de plus, nous avons gagné le cœur des Sénégalais depuis 2015. Comme l'a dit Idi, nous sommes en nette avancée et les sondages le prouvent. La diaspora nous a fait confiance et Grand Yoff reconnaît Dip comme un leader. Même si la coalition Manko Herdip fait circuler certaines rumeurs, on tient bon.
Les résultats de l'élection présidentielle. Et Rose, comment appréciez-vous cette campagne?
Merci Moka. Effectivement, on a eu une assez belle campagne. Le taux de participation est acceptable et beaucoup qualifient le candidat